tuned to DC Talk Radio 90.9 FM. The time is 20:09, and of course, it's a beautiful Tuesday evening. And welcome to In the Life of with Market. I almost say fashion and culture, but anyway, those are the perks of doing a million shows on a Tuesday. And of course, I'm super excited because today we're doing it live in the studio, and I have an amazing guest. You know, we never disappoint when it comes to having people that we can actually get inspiration from, motivation from. Well, we always bring the best of the best. And today I am honored, I am humbled to actually host BFlow in the studio, and allow me to welcome him on In the Life of. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here. I haven't done something like this in a long time where we just get to talk about me, my life, my career, my journey. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, considering how much it took to get you here, I'm super excited to have you in the studio.
Well, thank you. So sorry for disappointing. Since you said you don't disappoint, maybe I disappointed a few times because it's been busy. It's really been busy, you know, getting to do work, especially on behalf of many Zambians out there, especially like the humanitarian work that we do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm happy that you're here, and we're going to be discussing In the Life of BFlow. That means we get to talk about his story, his journey, and of course his achievements, his challenges, and of course his future prospects. So if you want to have a conversation with us, I will be giving the number that you can text on or call on. But in the meantime, of course, allow us to start from the very beginning and get to know BFlow. I know there's information on the internet, you know, bits and pieces about you, but of course, getting it from the horse's mouth is even better. So please tell us about yourself. Family background, education background.
Okay, so my full names on my birth certificate, I have 4 names. So my name is Brian Mumba Kasoka Wembia. I am half Bemba, half Luvale. Yes.
What's
and
Your father?
My what?
Your father was Luvale?
Yes.
I'm Luvale too.
Oh, actually.
Kanawa.
Haha, come on, give us C.
I'm learning. Go ahead.
I can't even speak Luvale, but I'm proudly a Luvale Bemba man. I was born in a small town called Kabwe. Born and bred in Kabwe, and I'm very, very proud to have come from Kabwe, and I'm proud to be representing Kabwe wherever I go across the world. I went to Kasanda Malombe Primary School in the early 90s, where I started school up to 4th grade when my mother got transferred to go and work in Serenge. So we ended up going to Serenge, where I lived for like 3 years. And then after that, my mom got a transfer to go back to Kabwe because she really loved Kabwe. Well, our lives pretty much, I mean, everybody was born and bred in Kabwe. So we had to go back to Kabwe, where I attended Broadway, still primary school. So that was like in 7th grade. And then I passed with flying colors and went to Kabwe Secondary School, where I served in various positions, leadership positions. I was a peer educator. I was a member of the school library where I served in the disciplinary committee. I was also the chief printer for the press club. I was the anti-AIDS and anti-drug club president. I also served as the chairperson of the school-friendly corner, which was a youth-friendly corner, the first ever at Kawe High School. So, Yeah, and I also served in a committee they called the Vernacular Monitoring Team. Then when I got to 12th grade, 11th grade, I was appointed as a prefect. Then when I got to 12th grade, I was appointed as the head boy, the school head boy for Cabo Secondary School. I got an opportunity to be appointed. I was going to be elected as a board member. That's what they used to call them, board member. The guy was like, who represents the teachers to the pupils and the pupils to the teachers. But I couldn't get that position because I had a lot of badges, on my shirt, and so the teachers said you can't have all these positions at the same time. So I had about 8 positions at the same time, and I could only wear like 3 badges because there was going to be it was going to be a disaster. I remember when we attended the interviews for, and they were trying to select the head boy. It was quite challenging to answer the questions that were coming from the teachers, where they were asking to say, but how are you going to manage to be the school head boy when you have all these positions that you have? So what I'm simply trying to say is that I had a lot of I participated in a lot of extracurricular activities and a lot of co-curricular activities while in high school. And then after high school, I went to the National Institute of Public Administration, NIPA, where I studied Chartered Institute of Marketing, postgraduate diploma. And then after that, I went to the University of Zambia School of Education, Department of Adult Education, where I pursued social work. And then while I was in university, I began to record my music. I sort of started... I don't know how to explain this, but I used part of the money, part of my school fees, to go to the studio to record music, because the passion for music was burning big time. I needed to just do a bit of music. So I got part of my tuition fees, and I promised myself that I was going to work really hard in the music, such that when I start to make some money from the music, I was going to cover up for some of the courses that I was unable to pay for at that particular time. So it's a situation where in a particular year or in a particular semester, I'm supposed to be taking, let's say, 6 courses. And then I decide to say, well, I am going to only take 3 courses, and then the money that I'm supposed to pay for the other 3 courses, I take it to the studio. But my sponsor, my uncle, didn't have to know. Oh, sorry, uncle, if you're finding out now. He didn't have to know, but I worked so hard that by the time I was in my final year in 2009, I was already making money from music, and I was able to sort of clear off everything else that and then so I don't know if we are going to the challenges yet.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay. Yeah, but pretty much that has been the journey. I have to say, I moved to Lusaka in the year 2005 to pursue my education. Yeah, to my higher education, and also to pursue my music career. But I have always lived in both towns. I've always lived in Kabwe. I've always lived in Lusaka. So I have 2 homes. I have 2 houses. I live in Kabwe and I live in Lusaka.
Awesome. Well, when you were growing up, did you always have did you always have an idea of what you were going to become? When we're growing up, I'm going to be a pilot, I'm going to be a doctor. For you, how was it like growing up, career-wise?
All right. I think I'm blessed in that I have always known what I want for myself. And this is something I can't wait to inculcate in my children, to make sure that they always know where they're going. They need to have a plan. Maybe part of the reason could be I grew up in a family where planning was very, very important. They say failing to prepare is preparing to fail. My mother's stepfather was Irish. He was English Irish. So yeah, my grandmother was married to a Muzungu Caucasian Irishman, and there are a lot of, I think, values somehow that were passed on from the Irish society to my family. So that's like the kind of upbringing that my mother had. and then whatever happened, like, you know, after the death of the demise of my grandmother, and then all the problems started, and, you know, the hardships, but the values still remained. Like, we still had to go with whatever they had to learn. So a combination of, I think, what my mother learned, and also what she learned from her stepfather, and also what she learned from her mother. Maybe the two cultures also helped to understand the importance of planning, because planning in the Zambian society, we are very poor when it comes to planning, and that's why we are able to applaud people like the Indian nationals in Zambia, because even when it comes to business, they are taught, you know, there's always like a succession plan, and also the younger ones, as they are growing up, they already know how to be responsible in terms of the business. But here, when your parents who are doing well die, most of the time you find that the children fail to manage those businesses. So I think maybe having that Irish, you know, grandfather passing on certain values to my mother kind of also helped for me to learn how to plan. So I pretty much planned my life from as far back as 4th grade. By the time I was in 4th grade, I already knew that music was a big part of my life, and I was going to become an artist. I remember when I was 8 years old, I used to stand like on top of a table. There was a big table that was outside the house, and I would start singing, imagining that there was an audience, and then without realizing there would be people behind me watching me sing. So I remember a lady called Mrs. Mulenga Banampange, our next door neighbor in Kawe, coming to tell me, to say, yeah, uyu mwana akaba musician kuntansholo chikabeshani. Aritemo kwimba. I think I never even realized that I really loved singing. I would hear songs play on radio, even songs like, you know, people like Victor Kachaka, Itizi Tulu, Ballad Zulu and Victor Kachaka. Akitivitizi, you got to, you want it to dirinki, you got to know money. Every time I was from watching those songs on TV, on our black and white TV, I would immediately go outside to start mimicking what I was watching on TV, and people would always say, he loves to sing, this guy is going to become a musician. So when I got to 7th grade, I used to find myself on the list of noisemakers without realizing that I was making noise. I thought I was very quiet in class, I was always studying, but I would always find myself on the list of noisemakers. And when I asked to say, how? I haven't spoken to anybody, why am I always on the list of noisemakers? Then the monitor or the monitress would write my name. Then in brackets, they write singing and drumming in class. So without realizing that I was singing and drumming. So in 7th grade, I said, it's too much of these punishments. I think this music thing for me is just serious. I have made a decision. I'm going to become a musician. In 8th grade, I was an entertainer. People would ask me to sing them songs, like whatever hit song was there, they would ask me, can you sing us this song by Sean Paul? Can you sing this song by Danny? Can you... You know, everybody would always ask me to sing a song, and that's how I grew up, and I planned that I wanted to become an artist. I remember in 10th grade, one time I was asked to write, you know, that what do you call it, composition, where you write like you write something comprehensively, and what I wrote was, I was asked to write about my career, like what I wanted to become after high school, and I wrote that I wanted to become a journalist. Professionally, I wanted to become a journalist or a lawyer. And then I also mentioned that if journalism or law doesn't work out for me, then I was going to become a social worker. And I made it clear that whatever of the 3 options that I have, whatever it is that I was going to become, was going to be alongside music. But then when I learned the story of one of the artists that I used to look up to, I used to watch on TV, by the name of Victor Kachaka, I learned that Victor Kachaka studied law, and then I think after he got admitted to the bar, I think he had to quit music because apparently law and music could not go together for some reason, because maybe a lawyer is not supposed to socialize too much, or you cannot go and defend certain clients against your own fans or something. There was an explanation that was given, and that really discouraged me, and I really wanted to be a lawyer. I think I was going to make a very good lawyer.
Yeah.
I think so. I used to debate a lot in school, and I used to usually get best speaker during debates. Yeah, so that's how I gave up on my dream to become a lawyer, and journalism was the only next option. But when I went to apply at Evelyn Horn College, while I was waiting for my acceptance letter, I had an alternative plan. I had also applied at NIPA, and I think should have been ZBIC or something. Then I got accepted in 2 places. But then at the time, I used to live with an uncle who's what do you call them? Procurement officer. He studied Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply, and having conversations with him kind of gave me interest to study marketing, something close to what he was doing. So that's how I started doing a bit of marketing. But then, because it wasn't really my passion, I said, well, I want to do something that I really wanted to do. So I went back and went to study social work alongside music. And that's been my story. So everything was planned, and it's going according to plan. Although I must admit that I have achieved way more than I thought I would achieve in life. I must be very honest, and that's not something I just brag or want to take for granted. It's something I am truly grateful for to God Almighty for giving me an opportunity to achieve way more than I thought I would.
Awesome. You're listening to DC Talk Radio 90.9 FM. This is In the Life of BFlow, and he is in the studio. In case you have a question, comment, or contribution, feel free to call in or text in on 0970-413-909. That's 0970-413-909 and 0761-061-909. That's 0761-061-909 and 0955-390-909. Now, what has been your motivation in your life, your career? What has kept you afloat?
Firstly, my mother. Yeah, so I was raised by a single mother. Very loving woman, very humble, down-to-earth woman. That woman taught me how to become a man. It's quite interesting and impressive that a woman taught me how to be a man. She played a father-mother role, both. She played those roles really, really well. She did a very, very good job, I think, in raising me and my brother Terence, Terence Pictures. My mother was and is still my motivation. I'm saying was because she passed away in the year 2014. But she's still my motivation because it's the values that she instilled in me that have continued to motivate me to do what I do and to stand up for what's right and to try by all means to be on the right side of things, no matter the challenge, no matter the temptation, to make sure that I can maintain my integrity. That's what it was all about. I must say that my mother, I'll give a very good example of what I experienced at home. I'm not saying this because she's my mother. My mother was a police officer. And she refused to go and work at the checkpoints because she believed that there was corruption there. She believed that people would treat people unfairly. I can say this because she's not here. Maybe if I said it, if she was alive, then I would get her into trouble with her bosses to say, how do you disclose such things? Yeah, but she said she didn't want to be part of corruption. She didn't want to stand there and treat people unfairly just because they are driving, and when they stop by the checkpoint, then you get money from them, which you keep, and then you go and share with your bosses and all these things. So integrity is one of the values that I learned from my mother. And when I look at all these things that she taught me, it answers your question, what has been my motivation? My motivation has been the conviction that I have to do the right thing, and the values that I learned from my mother. And generally, the motivation is also the surrounding, the environment in which I live, the things I experience, the things that I watch other people experiencing each and every day. The hardships of the Zambian people motivate me to be a humanitarian. Life wasn't easy for me. My mother only joined the police service when I was about 10 years old, and that was like the best we could have, but that wasn't even like good enough. Even the salaries were really low, so it's not like I experienced a very good life. I never experienced a good life. I wouldn't say that. I would say I experienced a good life in terms of happiness. We never had much, but we were very happy. But I never really experienced, even like watching satellite TV. I never experienced, going to all these like fancy places where people would go for outings. I never really experienced all that, but I am motivated that because of that background, better is possible in life. Like we can fight for better, and we can achieve much more. So that's been the motivation, just what I have gone through, and the desire to do better, and also the desire to see other people experience a better life than what I have experienced.
Awesome. Well, that is quite motivating, even for the listeners.
I hope so.
There. Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges that you experienced, especially in your personal life? I know that the things that we go through are things that shape us, to even make decisions, choices, and whatnot. So what are those challenges, and how did you overcome them?
Okay, plenty. I'll start. I remember in third grade, going on to fourth grade. This is before my mother was in employment. So my mother tried out different things. She tried like tailoring business. It couldn't work out. She went for something they used to call UT, untrained teacher. It was more like on voluntary basis, but you get a bit of like a small allowance. And during that time, it was really hard. The struggle was real. I would be in and out of class. They would always, chase us from school because our school fees were not paid all the time. It would be, they come and read out a list of, what do we call them? The bazaar would come and read out a list of those that haven't paid their school fees, and I would always be on that list. And outside, I would have to go out of class, meet my friends, going to school. Sometimes I don't go to school myself. That really used to get to me, like, why do I have to experience this life? Why do I have to go through all this? Where is my family? Like, where is the bigger family, the extended family? Can't they see what we're going through? Can't they help us out? It was really, really hard. I remember not having shoes. One time in grade 3, actually, that's the story I wanted to tell. I was walking to school, and I saw a girl, a young girl. Like, I was young too. I think I was about 8. So I saw this young girl, and she was just laughing, like she was calling the friend, come and see. So she was laughing and pointing at me, and I didn't know what was going on. Like, why is she laughing at me? So I turned to them and I asked, like, Nishi muleseka? And then they were like, Insapato yobe ile lombo bwari. So I looked at my shoes, and my shoe was open in front. My shoe was open in front, and you could see my toes like that. And they were like, ile lombo bwari na ikwata na kalulimi mukati, like my toes, As a young person, really, that felt really, really bad. Like, okay, so like we are this poor. Is this like the kind of family I come from? This is what we're going through, and people are laughing. Wow. So I went and told this story to my mother. My mother would be like in and out of Kabwe, but whenever she would come back, I would tell her these stories. Like, this is what I'm going through. She's like, everything will be okay. It's not about what you're going through today. It's about where God has destined you to be. Don't worry about whoever is laughing at you. They can manage. You cannot manage to have all those good things So for now, just accept where you are and work hard. Just study hard. So for me, when I started school, we used to go with like these empty sacks, tomasaka, and then you lay on the floor, and that's where you sit. We didn't have desks. I used to be at a school called Kasanda Malombe. We never had desks, so we sit. Pakasanda, so we'd sit on the floor. That was my life, really. Some of my challenges at school, I used to get bullied. I remember 2 people that used to bully me. I still know their names. They used to bully me like big time. Once in a while, when my mother is around and she packs like lunch for me, they would get the food from me and they would eat. I never knew how to defend myself. I was small. I never really knew how to talk. But all that stuff motivated me to say, you need to do something and stand up for yourself. Maybe that's why I'm an activist today. Like, you need to rise up. Doesn't matter whether that person looks bigger than you. You need to stand up for yourself. And when I was in 4th grade, I don't know where I got the courage. And now I learned how to defend myself, how to tell the teachers that this is wrong. Look at how this guy is treating me. He's eating my food. I remember one guy, do you remember the days of corporal punishment? One time this guy got flogged in class because he was bullying me. That's another challenge, bullying. I talked about the shoes. I also remember another challenge in 7th grade. Now this is getting to the time I described in the song Dear Mama, where I say, so around this time, things were really, really bad. Like, my mother couldn't afford to pay my school fees. And at the same time, first, before I go to 8th grade. So in 7th grade, because I moved from a school that had a different uniform, the school I was at, when I was at Kasanda Malombe, we used to wear khaki. And khaki back then was known as, it was very much similar to what the founding father of Zambia used to wear. He used to love khaki suits. So when they changed the uniform from khaki to blue, I couldn't afford to buy the blue one. So I remained in the khaki, and there was always pressure at school, like, hey, you need to buy the new uniform, you need to buy the new uniform. So because I remained as the only one with a khaki uniform, they started calling me KK. That used to get to me. At that particular time, didn't feel nice. But now that I've grown, if they called me KK today, I'll feel good, like, hey, I'm a hero, KK. But then, like, they'll say it to tease me, like, now I've got KK, now I've got khaki. The other people are in the normal uniform. So just buying uniforms was a challenge. In 7th grade, because I didn't have a uniform, I had to inherit my sister's gym dress. So my sister, my cousin, but I love to say sister. So my cousin stopped going to school, and she just didn't want to go to school. So I asked for her gym dress and gave it to my mother, and I said, since my mother did a bit of tailoring, she needed to make like a shorts out of that, the gym dress. Yeah, so that's how we made something, but then I think the measurements were not right, so it was very big. So when I went to school the first time, wearing that, people expect me to be in this new uniform, but they just looked at it and people started laughing, and they said, why are they laughing? And then someone said, nafwalo mugomo. Yeah, because it was big. Oh, wow. So those little things at the time, they really, really used to get to me. Like, why all the time there's something that people are laughing at, but my mother would always remind me that it's not about where you are today, it's about where God has destined you to be. Exactly. And that really motivated me to work really hard. Fast forward to my music journey. My music journey, I took a risk. I told you about the time that I used part of my tuition fees. But that was a big risk, because even during that time, I wasn't guaranteed that I was going to make it musically. So the music journey, initially what I needed was a recording contract. And this recording contract, I couldn't get it because everyone was busy and everyone was refusing to sign me. Everyone was even refusing to just listen to a snippet, a dionko from me. Like, let me just sing for you. You just get to hear what I'm capable of doing. Nobody was really interested because I'm from Kabwe. Kamfana Kabwe kanako kazaimba vichani pamene hapa. Please, let me just sing for you. So I used to sit outside studios and I would wait like the whole day. I would go to a studio. I don't want to mention the names because these guys might just find out that they really ill-treated me. But they would make me sit outside the studio the whole day. I'm hungry like from 9 to like 16, just waiting for an opportunity to be listened to. Like, just listen to me, sing for you. I've got something to offer. I would see all these big artists that I used to watch on TV. They're walking in and out of the studio, and I want to talk to them. Some of them would treat me so badly. Some of them would say hi, but the moment you want to try and talk to them about the music, they go like, they resist you because they feel you are nothing, you're nobody. But because of sitting outside the studio, I began to get certain opportunities. First of all, I used to walk long distances. I used to live in Challenge. I used to walk from Challenge to Olympia to a studio, going to look for a recording contract. And they would just turn me down. They never wanted to listen to me. I would walk from Challenge to Roma. I would walk sometimes from Challenge to town if I have a little something. Then I get on a bus from town to go to Charleston to a studio. Then I'm asked to say, do you have an appointment with the producer? And I said, no, I don't. They said, then you can't see him. Oh, wow. Just like that, then I get on another bus, go back to town. Then again, walk from town to Challenge. This was a long distance. I don't know if it's still a long distance today, but that was a long distance of walking. Because even when I'm driving today, if I drive from, let's say, Woodlands or Challenge to town, it's still a long drive. Now I used to walking. It was really challenging. So I used to sit outside this studio. There's a company called Soundwave Zambia. Before it was what it is today, it used to be a music studio. So I used to sit outside Soundwave, waiting for. I know I said I wasn't going to mention.
Too late.
But well, there are many studios. But that particular studio, I think, has a lot of good to do with my story, because I used to sit outside there and artists would be coming. I would see the likes of MC Wabwino. I'm like, wow, these are like my heroes, like the elephant of Zambian music, MC. I'll see all these people walking in and I'll try to have conversations with them. So one time, some friends from Kawe came to Lusaka to record. Before they came, they called me and they said, what are the most happening studios in Lusaka? And I gave them the options. Then I recommended a studio where I used to sit outside, because I loved the sound that was coming from inside, although I never got to go inside. But so these guys came so that I could write music for them. So when I was writing for them at that same studio, I would write music like on the spot. So like if you take me to a studio and you tell me what you want to sing about, you tell me, oh, we want to sing about what Zambia is going through today. Maybe there's a problem of tribalism, or we want to do a love song. I want to express my love for this girl. Oh, no problem. Let's go to the studio. Then I'll ask a producer, do you have a beat? He would say yes, or if he doesn't have, then I would compose there, and then okay, I've got a, let's see, then the melody would come up, and then I would start writing. So while I was writing, bigger artists started noticing me, like I was a good writer. But those were the days of, like, those were the challenges, really. Those were the challenges. For me to just get that opportunity, it had to take people that came from Kawe, who believed in me because they knew me from Kawe. So they believed that I could write for them. So when they came and I started writing for them, that's how I got noticed to now start featuring on other people's songs. Some of them made it, others didn't make it. But the journey was long.
Well, it was definitely long. Well, you're still tuned to DC Talk Radio 90.9 FM. This is in the life of BFlow. And of course, if you have any question, comment, or contribution, you can definitely come through, text in or call in on 0970-413-909. That's 0970-413-909 and 0761-061-909, as well as 0955-390-2909. 909. We do have a text message here and it says, I love BFlow because he went through what the legend of rap Tupac went through, being raised by a single parent.
Wow.
Chris in Kablonga.
I appreciate.
All right, this one says, I'm enjoying the show. Okay, before we get to finish reading that text, let's just get to pick this call. Hello? Hello, you're tuned to DC Talk Radio. Oh Lord, you can still come through 0970-413-909. That's 0970-413-909. Alright, so this one says, I'm enjoying the show. Just wanted to let you know that I am locked in. This is Chofia.
Chofia,
thank you so much for coming through. Yes, so you can definitely come through and say hi. If you have a question for BFlow, you can definitely come through and ask. I would like to know what are some of your biggest achievements? I know you have achieved quite a lot, and I'm sure there are those that well, you can tell us about everything.
Okay, I can mention a number of them, I think. My first big achievement for me was in the year 2009 when I got nominated for a Ngoma Award. I was up against I think Baska had like the biggest song at the time, Jiwe Yanga. And another person I can't remember who, but just being nominated for a Ngoma Award at the time for Best Newcomer was a huge achievement for me. Because that was my first award nomination. Although I had won awards in other fields, like in leadership, like away from music. And then another big achievement for me was the first time I ever left Zambia to go and perform in a place called Maun in Botswana with General Ozzy. So yeah, before there was BFlow, I actually used to be General Ozzy's backing vocalist. Yes, we come from the same town. We played basketball in Kabwe. So he went first. He came first to Lusaka, and then he made a big name. And then we started backing him. Me and Damiano, who were also from Kabwe. I think Dreams might have backed Ozzy or Chameleon at some point as well during the same time. So during that time, going to perform in Gaborone, Maun and Francistown in Botswana for the first time. I never had a passport. I had what they used to call a traveling document. Like a big paper like this, a traveling just having that for me was a big achievement. I loved it as a new artist on the scene. I went there, we rocked, we performed, people loved us. It was great. It was a great experience for me. Another big achievement in life in general, even before the music for me, which I remember as one of the happiest moments of my life, was the day I was appointed head boy for Kabwe High School. That was one of the happiest days of my life. I was so happy to be appointed as a leader. Like, oh wow, of all the pupils in this school, just me. Like there are many other intellectuals. I remember during my time, there was a guy called Robert Simoshi. He was a big brain. He was a brain buster. I think, some people felt I was a big brain too, or some people still feel I'm a big brain too. But I think that guy was a genius. It was an intellectual genius. And I thought he was going to be the head boy, but I got selected. And that was one of the happiest moments of my life. And I still regard it as an achievement because it tells something about my leadership journey. And the many awards that I've won a lot of local and international awards. Those are great achievements, but one of the biggest achievements that I would mention that is becoming the first African artist to headline the Dolby Theatre in Hollywood. For me, that's a huge achievement. And also being the only African artist that has performed at the Hollywood Palladium and also at the U.S. State Department headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Those are great achievements. And we do have a text message here that says, wow, man, you went through a lot. I'm 13 and you're my hero, KK.
Wow. Thank you. What's the name? KK?
Please do tell us your name and where you're texting from. I hope he's going to send
Okay,
his
well,
name and where he's texting
thank you
from.
so much. I'm glad that I'm able to inspire a
Yeah.
13-year-old. For me, I remember everything about my life. I can remember what I was doing at 13, and I can only say, please stay focused, and you will achieve great things.
Awesome. This one says, BFlow, continue fulfilling God's assignment on your life, Pastor Justin.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Justin. God bless.
Alright, this one says, BFlow's story is so motivating. I'm so encouraged. Thank you, Gideon from Ibex.
Wow. Thank you, Gideon. God bless you.
You are definitely inspiring lives. I think even for me, I'm so inspired. I'm motivated.
That's great.
To believe more and do more.
Nice one. I should never forget to say, in everything that we are doing, especially those that are saying they're inspired, for me, doesn't have a lot to do with my talent. I don't think I'm the most talented person. I don't think I have a lot of talent, but I'll tell you that I have a lot of wisdom, and that wisdom, you can only have it if you fear God. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So that wisdom, for me, I think I have a lot of it, and I can brag that I have wisdom because I have the fear of the Lord. So if you believe in God, I'm not trying to preach to convert anybody to believe in God if they don't, but I'm just saying, if you believe in God, then you better have faith in God and then back it up with some action, because faith without works is dead.
Alright, and my mother is listening, and she's saying,
Money!
Which is telling me, have you seen money isn't very important? And tell him I agree with him.
Wow.
Because you mentioned you were happy even if you had you lacked in many things.
Right. It's about the chemistry that you have with your family, and also being content but not being complacent. But be content with what you have, because at that particular time, that's what God has blessed you with, and you need to look around you. No matter how much you think you're suffering, just look around you. There will be something that God has blessed you with. There's a song I love by Ruben where he says, Ififine mulensunga eluse mwankwatila. So where I am at this particular time, what I have, I better be grateful, and I better look at all those things as very huge and very big blessings.
Indeed.
Preach, BFlow.
Indeed. And she says, tell him that he's blessed.
Thank you so much, Mom. I'm grateful. For me, when a woman speaks, a friend of mine by the name of Frederick Mobanga from Ratsa today sent me a message saying, God bless the woman who gave birth to you. And I was humbled. I say the same about him. He was also raised by a single, he's my childhood friend, by a single mother. So every time a woman speaks a blessing in my life, I don't take it like, when you meet someone and they tell you, God bless you. And you think it's just something that people just say, God bless you. For me, when a woman says, God bless you, I know it's real. So thank you, Mama. I'm grateful. I'm blessed.
Let's get to pick this call. Hello, you're tuned to DC Talk Radio. Good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Your name and where you're calling from? Your name again? Owen. Oh, awesome. It's good to know that Kitwe is tuned in.
Yeah.
Wako palalaka. Live stream on Facebook.
Awesome.
Nice one, Owen.
Yes. I have a question. That it's about him being an activist anyway.
Okay.
So we've heard quite a number of videos of him talking about the current government and pretty much opposing, or rather he's against the way they're running things. And it's not one video, but we've seen quite a number of videos. So my question for him is, what is the way forward? Are you just going to keep complaining on social media, or you actually have a plan? Because we saw the last protest wasn't successful. What is your plan now? What do you plan on doing? Because I think as youths are pretty much really tired of complaining. We've been complaining for a while.
Right.
Even when we complain, it's not like they hear us anyway. They pretty much just ignore us.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Owen.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
In 5 minutes. Well, activism. I was going to ask what your shirt has printed on it. Yufi. Yufi Makamwishiwi. Yes, how's that going?
Well, activism is it could be a lonely journey, but it's also a fulfilling journey because it makes you happy to know that you are contributing something to the betterment of society. So I've been an activist all my life. I told you about being president for the anti-AIDS, anti-drug club. I used to organize walks, candlelight walks at night. I've organized protests in other countries. I've led a protest in the US. If you go on YouTube and search for BFlow protesting in America, you will see me being in front and being documented. So activism for me is a part of my journey. He says what we have done the protest wasn't a success. It was a big success. It is the reason you are hearing about the Youth Empowerment Fund, 470 million, 30 million for artists, what. The reason you're seeing all these things popping up is because of that same protest. Don't be lied to. Don't ever believe anyone who tells you to say it wasn't successful. It was a success. It's the reason you're seeing that. What is the way forward? The thing is, a lot of people would want me to tell them who to vote for. They're saying, where are you leading us? Like, where are you taking us? Just tell us that, okay, since you are not satisfied with this, we are going to vote for this. About, are we just going to be complaining on Facebook? I am not a Facebook person. Myself, I'm an action-oriented person. The reason I went to State House, although a lot of people rose against me at that particular time, is because I believe in action. I can't just be on Facebook. The reason after State House, even if it wasn't successful, the reason I went to protest and then I met the police on the streets and then I ran away and went to protest from the bush is because I don't believe in being under my beddings at home. It's because I believe in action. So at least I have shown you that I am action oriented. Now my question is to you, the listener, you, the youth. You, Chinishure Chita, what are you doing? What action are you taking? Because you have seen me take action. You saw me take action. I went to State House to try and seek an audience. You condemned me, but what did you do? You stayed at home. You were watching me on Facebook being insulted by people. What did you do to add to the revolution? That's the question. So for me, I want people to stop looking at BFlow as a savior. I want them to look at themselves as a young person to say, what am I contributing to what BFlow is doing? Or how can I partner with BFlow for us to figure out a solution? It's not BFlow to come up with a solution, but the way forward is you must continue demanding for good governance. And they are listening. That's the reason you will see a minister hold a whole press conference and say, you are BFlow, stop talking. I give you 24 hours to apologize. The reason all that happens is because they are listening. So don't say they are not listening. They are listening. That's the reason they are responding, even if they're responding the way they are. But they are listening.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the way forward is everybody has to play a role in determining their own destiny.
Awesome. This one says, hi, I'm enjoying the show and your biggest fan, and I'm your biggest fan at the same time. This is Sanford from Kuku. And this one says, I sent that message. My name is Jacob. I've got a song I can sell you. Please, please, and please listen to my buzz. It's about the blessings on Zambia by God.
Great stuff. Thank you, Jacob. We'll find a way of listening to you.
All right, and I think this is our last text for tonight. This one says, evening. I have known BFlow from way back. I'm his keen follower. I know player haters think you brag. Ignore them. Not everyone loves you, and God bless you, Brian Wembia. It's Mr. Banda in Lusaka.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Banda. I appreciate you. I've gone through a lot in my life, even a little bragging doesn't hurt really. It's okay. Well, for me, my leadership training was done in the US, and in America, one thing I learned from Americans is that if you don't tell your story, nobody will tell it for you, and you have the right to brag about your achievements. That they made clear. And for me, that's my school of thought. It's okay for you to brag about it. And this is not bragging, it's testifying. In Revelation 12 verse 11, the Bible tells me, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. So testify. BFlow.
Awesome. My last question in 30 seconds. This one I can't let it go even if I wanted to.
Okay.
Your relationship status. When are we dancing?
Guys, okay, so I've got a new song called Utubale. If you listen to that song, it will answer that question. Yeah, but I rarely talk about my private life, so nobody knows whether I'm single or even whether I'm married.
You leave us curious.
Yeah,
we can't help it.
I love it that way. I know I'm a public figure, but I also have
a private life. Of course.
So like a family life, like keeping up with a private video. I think people only know Terence being my brother, I think, because he's also in the limelight. He's a filmmaker,
yes,
so yeah.
Yes. Okay, we won't be satisfied with that. We'll just listen
to the song. Maybe it's got an answer.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, thank you so much for coming through. I have enjoyed the show, and I wish we could just go on because you have quite a story to tell.
I do. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and thanks to all the listeners for taking the time to listen to DC Talk Radio. I love this place. By the way, I love the quality of the sound that comes from these studios whenever I'm listening to you guys from home. Doing a great job, and you have the cream de la cream of the presenters.
Thank you. We are humbled. And of course, till we come back next week with yet another exciting guest, always keep it up to DC Talk Radio 90.9 FM. This has been In the Life of BFlow. My name is Margaret. For now, have a blessed evening.
Volume Cheku.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It was good. Time flies when you're having a good time. Huh? It's already an hour.
Do you know how many questions I had to skip?
Cheers.